now we're going to hear from Eloise Stonborough. Eloise is from London and now lives in Oxford, where she is reading for a D.Phil at Balliol College on prosody and 20th century poetry. Very interesting. As an undergraduate, she was secretary of the Oxford University Poetry Society and recently co-edited the Salt Book of Younger Poets with Roddy Lumsden.
Hi. This first one is in the Salt Anthology. I wrote it while I was an undergraduate here. The Pharaoh's Embalmers. The embalmers knew the brain for what it is, the upstart ancestor of phlegm, a distraction from their tidy catalogue of flesh, each organ in its jar protected by a tiny clay-faced god, quantifiable in their order. The stomach, for its hunger, guarded by the jackal, the curving intestines hovered over by a falcon, the lungs breath clouding in the throat of the wide-jawed baboon, and the liver, the last most human organ, is topped with a man's face, dark as blood. The brain has no place, tugged out through the nose and thrown to the dusty kittens crowding the door of the high temple. In this canopic piece there is no room to unpick its madman scrawls, puzzle out the smooth grey ciphers of its knots. Best to leave that to the earth. The afterlife demands only one organ, entered and weighed against the ghost of flight imprinted on a feather. So they leave the heart, as witness in the safest cage a body knows. This next one's called To Lazarus, and it is dedicated to Jamie. What is the opposite of grief? You were not meant to slip back into life, shaking the grave dust from your hair. I cannot kiss a mouth that tastes of copper pennies, or wrap cool arms around my neck, still bound in yellowed linens, as waxed and cloying as licorice. Do you feel the darkness when you sleep, or was it a skipped beat between breath and breath? I lost a lifetime to those days, and you are so the same. Your stillness seems like death held back with silk. I cannot love. The love unhooked from loss is nothing more than bodies in the night. We are both undone. This poem is loosely based on the theory of quantum entanglement, which is far too complicated to explain, but I don't understand it, so you don't know what I say. Entanglement. Last night you put your thumb inside my mouth and held it there. It left a bruise, or some simulacrum of a stain kept dark by restless fumbling at a loss. I never knew how we were born breathing for a twin whose brain runs parallel to ours, a double, calling across suburbs, out of town industrial science parks, to an echo, chambered in the bones of the throat, an almost heard murmur like dead flies littering the windowsill in the long-abandoned servant quarters of the heart. And finally, this last poem requires a little bit of instruction. I tried to avoid doing too much. It's called stichomancy, which is the art of divination by choosing random phrases from a book. And there was quite a fad for it in the 19th century. There's a great anecdote about when Robert Browning was first pursuing Elizabeth Barrett, and he decided to perform stichomancy, to consult his books to decide whether or not he should pursue this relationship. So he goes to his shelf and he picks a random book off, and he looks at it, to his horror, it's a textbook of Italian grammar. He thinks, there's no way I can find anything in this book that will give me the news I want. But he was Victorian, he was very determined. So he opens the book up and selects a random passage, and the passage he landed on was an excerpt of translation, and it's the epigraph of his poem. Stichomancy. If we love in the other world as we do in this, I shall love thee to eternity. Cerruti's Italian grammar. The streets are strung with lies, caught like plastic bags on the antlers of plane trees, and billboards mirror back an iterated present. Nostalgia recast is endlessly looping reel. Perhaps if we still knew the meaning of quixotic, we would mourn the slumbering of its windmills. For we are glutted with answers, we are drowning in them, chasing their footprints through brown fields, but we cannot salvage the gas-lit loveliness of things, half known, forgotten, misremembered, dreamt. No surprise then, our turning back to tarot cards, the new appeal of tea leaves. We are aching for the comfort of a simpler kind of searching, a method closer to ritual than craft. Tongue pressed to calloused thumb, to index tip, the whisper of skin over print, uttering its wordless incantation. Even the lowliest catalogue can prove divine once in its lifetime.